And welcome back after a little hiatus, a couple weeks off, to a new episode of the Rebel Radio podcast. And we are hopefully rejuvenated, ready to roll, and ready to bring you the best that we can, be, the best of the best,
the best of the best,
the best around. You're the best around. All right.
That's a good song. That's a good 80s song.
I guess. I don't know.
It's classic. It's classic. Yeah.
There's so many songs that are just from the 80s. They're like, oh, that's from that movie. But then that's all you know from. Like a lot of one-hit wonders because of movie soundtracks.
Yep.
It's like the 80s was the thing where like every film had to have like this song, because they had to market the movie because it was MTV and music videos. Like, now it's internet and viral marketing. Back then, it's like you had to have like a music video to go with your movie. I mean, even fucking Ghostbusters, which is like a paranormal movie, has a music video to go with it. It was weird. And that was like an 80s thing, man. The kids today don't know what it's like, man. They can pull up YouTube and watch music videos, man. We had
Last Action Hero had one.
Well, yeah. But that the 90s is different. That's a whole different thing. That was like a soundtrack age.
Yeah.
I'm talking the 80s had to have a song. Okay. The 90s became soundtracks. That was completely different, because CD sales were through the roof and things like that. So they had to have a soundtrack to market the film. 80s was about the music video on MTV. That's what it was about. You
That's
had to
right.
tune
Yeah.
in. And then the 90s became, we got to sell CDs and merchandise, I mean, merchandising started in the 80s, obviously, with certain films, Star Wars and things like that. But then the 90s became, every film had merchandising, from T-shirts to action figures to soundtracks, and T-shirts. And now it's different now. I mean, you still get, movie action figures and things like that.
Yeah.
And movie merchandise, but it's not quite the same because you can pull up your phone and order anything you need. You don't have to go into the stores looking for it. It's not as important to the marketers to market in stores as it was back then or on television.
Correct.
Because now they want to market it to you on your phone. You pull up your Twitter feed or your Facebook or whatever, you see marketing for those films or whatever. It's in your brain. It's brainwashing.
Yes.
And
you can order it right there.
And to be fair, it fucking works. I mean, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah. There are plenty of times I bought something just because I saw it on Facebook.
Not you, Matt. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Not Matt.
Yes.
And so nowadays, you just marketing is different movies. It's all brainwashing our head. But along with that, it comes Comic-Cons, things like that. Like, man, I just know you just made a trip to McAllen, Texas. Quite a trip to go see the person you saw. You were. I mean, I've known you for 20 years now. You were definitely one of the most random people I know, and only Matt would drive or fly, in this case, to McAllen, Texas, to meet the Hoff.
The Hoff, baby.
What was this? What is a small? I mean, I've never been to a small town Comic-Con. What is it like?
Yeah. So, one, it's small. It is not the George R. Brown. We got there, and just like the con that we have here in Houston, Comic Palooza. I got there. We got there right pretty much whenever they opened. They had some vendors outside. We got some free barrilitos, which are Mexican sodas, and we drink those on the way in. Of course, you had to toss them before you get in, just like any other con. They don't allow outside food or drink. And it was pretty easy to navigate through, like really fast. Like just in 2 hours, we had seen everything. Mark Bagley and Sam De La Rosa were there. Those were the first people I swung by. And, I do have to get you that signed print.
So it wasn't much bigger than like we went to Space City Con here. That was just one room.
It's smaller than Space City Con probably, or maybe it's about the same size. Because they hold that in the NRG Center.
Yeah.
Most people
it just
were
didn't
there.
Feel very big.
No, and once it got busy, it got tight. So we actually left for an hour.
I miss small toy and shows like that and comic shows here in Houston. We used to have them all the time, but now we only have these big ones. And there is a Gulf Coast comic toy show, but it's way on the other side of the city. I'd like to go one day, maybe because me, I don't do freeways a lot. I'd like to go to that one time. Maybe me can go out and check out that Gulf Coast Toast Show they have way out near Baytown one Saturday or Sunday when they have it, because they have that like every 3 months. But anyway, back to your story.
Yeah. And I will say, the vendors there were cool. They had great food there. Everyone was there to see Fluffy. They had most of their space, I felt like, was to see Gabriel Iglesias, aka Fluffy.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And, but whenever it came time to the photo op, I'll say that Comicpalooza does a way better job. Because, we're staged for the photo op. And, everyone kind of files in line and goes in, and they're playing the Hoff's music. They start playing the Hoff's music, and they're hyping it up. I'm like, all right, cool. And so we get up there, and, there's a couple people ahead of us, and they're like, all right, next. And then you just line up. They're like pushing you. They're pushing the pace. All right. I don't know if it's because maybe he's older. So maybe he requested that, he doesn't stand
like
for very
72,
long.
73 years old now.
Yeah, 72. And he's tall. I did not realize how tall the Hoff is. Yeah. He's up there. He's like 6'2", 6'3", I guess.
Oh, you can tell back when you watch Baywatch, he towered over all those girls, even the other guys in the show. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess part of me thought it was just kind of like, the filmography of it. Maybe they just tried to make him look big. So I thought maybe, some of those angles were kind of low from the beach shore and Baywatch, but yeah, to your point, whenever he's standing next to people, you can tell. But we got there, and I had these custom kit T-shirts in the style of Akira. So instead of Kaneda walking towards his bike and it's saying Akira, it's the Hoff walking towards Kit, and at the bottom it says Night. And he saw the shirts, and he was like, "Whoa, that's cool." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Thanks for coming, Hoff." And he's does
he even know what Akira was?
No, I think he just saw that it was his character walking towards the car, right. And he was just like, "Whoa, like that's a cool shirt, And I had other people in line. They were like, "Where'd you get your shirt?" And I had bought it before the con, because one, I've never seen a kit T-shirt sold at a con. And usually it's the same vendors. And a lot of these vendors, they go to Comicpalooza too, like Pop Soap. Right. Oh, and sure. The T-shirt company, you see pretty much the same ones all the time. And a couple of the artists that, frequent Comicpalooza were there. But yeah, it was pretty much in and out. And then Juliette Lewis was there. We ended up going to her panel and checking out her panel. Of course, she was in Natural Born Killers. She was in From Dusk Till Dawn. She's currently in Yellow Jackets. And of course, she had that fun little role in Old School, where she was the dirty, dirty wife that liked orgies, apparently. And yes, someone did yell from the crowd, "I'm here for the gangbang." And but I think she ignored him because she just kind of kept on. But yeah, she's a cool person. My wife likes her and wanted to catch her con. Of course, some people from Stargate were there, Rick and Morty cast, and a couple, people from Mayans and Sons of Anarchy. Tom Arnold was there, and he's looking old, man. I looked over there, and I was like, all these people that you had these visions of in your head as, just a different image. They've aged, especially the Hoff. Right. But he's still out there singing.
And he's had a lot of plastic surgery too.
Yeah, he has.
He's had some Botox and stuff done in the face.
Definitely, dude. Yeah, because he doesn't totally look his age. I mean, he looks it, but he looks like, a pampered 72. You can tell whenever they're pampered. Yeah. He did not smell like bourbon and cheeseburger, though. he did. I guess he did not have the cheeseburger on him this time. But yeah, man. So I had people asking me weird shit like, what do you smell like? And they're like, I don't know, man. Maybe he smells like bourbon.
A little weird to do a photo op.
It's like, hey, Hoff, you just smell me. Funny. But yeah, man. And I know, even though Gabriel was there for the fans, he was pretty starstruck too. He got his the first single that the Hoff released. He got a copy of that signed by the Hoff, and it's in German. which is hilarious. Because of how popular.
Did you get something signed, or did you just do a photo op?
I didn't, because the he wants 90 for a signature and 150 for the photo op, and so I was like, I need to pick one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
and we talked about this before. I think photos are cool. I appreciate autograph, and I do have things autographed in my house. I have comic book autographs. I've got Kevin Smith. I've got a few Star Wars autographs, but I think it's silly the prices they charge to sign their name to something.
Yeah,
where I think a photo can be a memory and last longer, and I think it's cool. Yeah, and. But like now, like Palooza, Charles Wright, who was the Godfather in WWE, is going to be there, and I might get a figure signed by him if he's not asking more than 50, maybe. I might do that.
Yeah, and that's reasonable. Like Sam De La Rosa and Mark Bagley, you could walk up to their table, buy a $20 print of their artwork, and they would sign it right there.
Yeah, most comic book artists usually will sign stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 90's a lot. I mean, it's just like last year when Palooza and John Cena was there, wanted $200 for an autograph. It's like, fuck that, man.
Yeah. No way.
That's just too much money. Well, that's cool, man. You got to meet one of your, I don't know if I'd say he's a hero, but one of
an icon,
that you appreciate. I wouldn't even say you admire him, because it's hard to admire a guy who's had some issues. Let's just be fair.
Yes. But I try to think of the best.
He's an important part of your pop culture history. Let's put it that way.
This is true. He was one of the building blocks that built my love of pop culture.
Yeah. And he was in the SpongeBob movie.
And he saved Bikini Bottom.
And Piranha 3DD in this absolutely terrible film.
The greatest lifeguard ever. They hired the greatest lifeguard ever to make sure that the people were safe in that pool.
Did not get eaten by the piranhas.
Yeah. And then he turned around and was like, I'm just an actor.
I can't believe I watched that Piranha 3DD. Well, I know why I watched it. I mean, it had certain elements that were
certain elements
interesting.
Christopher Lloyd.
That was he in the second one or the first Piranha? They made two in the remakes, remember? He might have been the first.
Maybe he was in the first remake.
In the second one, they brought in Hoff, and then the chick, the weird scene where the dude's head flies through the air and motorboats are the dead head motorboats are. It's weird.
Yeah.
That movie was so bizarre.
They have to come up with some new shock and awe stuff in these horror films that they come out with sometimes.
I mean, that was shock and awe, just plain retarded, but
yeah.
And I don't mean that word in a negative sense. It's just there's no other way to describe that. If you've ever seen that film, there's no other way to describe it.
Yes,
except in those ways. But that's cool, man.
Yeah, someone was off making that film.
So you had a good time, man. So the photo op, did you pick up any cool pickups or anything?
We did buy some artwork for, obviously for you and my son. I got Mark Bagley to sign one of the art prints of a comic book cover. I forget which series it's from now, but Venom faces off against Carnage. It's not Lethal Protector, but he signed the cover of that, and I got him to personalize it, and I know that was fun. I did pick up some. It's funny. I'm going to show my age, but I bought the Pop soap. I know we're buying fucking soap at a con, and but they have like Fight Club replica soap. They have Dragon Bar Z. I don't know. I feel like I'm showing my age. I'm in my 40s.
Clean balls are important, man.
Yeah,
yeah. 40s, man.
I'm a year,
dog.
My body's in my 40s. I can feel it. But yeah, I've still got another year and some change. And then we picked up a couple cool shirts. I had to watch it because the luggage. I did look at toys, and they had some cool old school Kenner toys, Star Wars toys. I was trying to find Knight Rider stuff because if I could find like a Jada or a special edition something of kit.
There was a Jada Knight Rider out not that long ago.
Yeah, but I didn't order it in time. It wasn't there at the con.
I saw them sitting in Targets and Walmarts, plenty of them.
Oh shit. Yeah. Those aren't bad, but it's like if you get them to sign it, probably brings up the value a bit. But yeah, man, I saw some cool stuff, and had some good food. We're right there by the border, so of course the tacos are great. We didn't get enough of it though, because it was our anniversary weekend. So the first night we were there, she's like, "What are we gonna go eat?" And I'm like, "We're getting tacos. We're going to these, you taught me a long time ago, don't go to the chains. That's redundant, especially when you're this far away." And she's like, "Well, I want to go to Longhorn Steakhouse. I want a steak." And I was like, "A chain restaurant? We're fucking 6 hours away from the house, 15 minutes away from Mexico, and you want a commercialized steak?" And she's like,
"It's your damn wedding anniversary. She's gonna sit through the Hoff. She's gonna get what she wants."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. And she got what
I'm
she
with
wanted.
you though. When you go to small towns, a place you don't go, you got to try places you haven't tried before. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was a diner I wanted to go to that was like a 50s diner that almost looked like the Pulp Fiction one. And they served nothing but like burgers, fries, shakes, and wings. And I thought that would be cool. Like they had a jukebox, you played disco, they had a little dance floor. But we obviously ended up not being able to go to that. But that would have been really fun. But yeah, man, that was a week. We flew there, we flew back. It was 2 nights and not even a day on the day I had to fly back. It was an early flight, but fun experience.
Quick trip. Oh yeah, I've done quick trips like that before. Sometimes those quick trips though can be an absolute blast because you're kind of going through a whirlwind. You're rushing. You're doing this and that and everything, and then you sit down, and relax, but you realize, wow, I just had an incredible 24 hours.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was.
I think I did that one year when I went to that video game Retro Fest.
Yeah, like a Retro Palooza or something like that. I think it's Retro Palooza.
Why is my microphone doing crazy things? And it was like that. I think we drove to Austin that Friday night or Saturday morning and came back like the next thing Sunday morning. It was really fast, but it was fun. So, and I think I even did that for ACL one year. Went to Austin, Austin Limits, came back like the very next day. So, but it's fun. So,
yeah.
Cool, man. I'm glad you had a good time, man. And met the Hoff. And you smelt his cheese and bourbon. But man, that's cool. So yeah, but other than that, man, I did not have anything as exciting happen as that. I just got a pedestrian week. I took the kids and we watched the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith on the big screen.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty cool. The kids enjoyed seeing it on the big screen. Obviously it's got the I think the best lightsaber fight in any of the saga at
Absolutely.
the end. There's still problems I have with the movie. We're going to actually cover the film in a couple of weeks for its official 20th anniversary. And we'll talk about some issues I still have with the film then. Do I think it's the best of the prequels? Yes, I do. But there's still... And it's really because the last hour of the film makes up for so much of its shortcomings. There's so many issues I have in the first hour of that film that really still bother me 20 years later. But the last hour is some of the best Star Wars filmmaking you'll have in any saga, But it was fun seeing the big screen. The kids enjoyed it. Waverly, my daughter, she's like, I'm not really sure what's going on, Dad. She's Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I had to load her up with a pillow and candy just to get her to go,
Yeah, sweeten the deal, literally.
She survived, and then along with that, man, I watched the first 2 episodes of Andor, and it's like I know the series is critically acclaimed, and I end up liking the first season by the time I got to the end of it. But this season's just like the first season, starting off so slow. It's like Star Wars should be adventure and excitement, and Andor is a grind, and it's hard for me. It's not that I don't appreciate good storytelling, but like my Star Wars is not that. It doesn't drag. It doesn't take time to develop. And I'm hoping that this series picks up the pace some. I appreciated what it's doing, but I thought we got through all that political shit in the first season. This season should be about, Andor finding his way to the rebellion and ending up where he is at the beginning of Rogue One. And it's the first episode actually has quite a bit of action. The second episode is just a drag. And so, I'm going to stick with it. I think episode 4 is out. So I need to watch the next 2. But I watched that, and but I'm going to watch it. I'm not. It's not Acolyte or anything like that. It's better than that. It's just like
yes.
I just expect more from it. That's all. Excuse me, I got a little cough going today. I don't know why. It's like I got something in my throat. And that's really all I've watched, man. I mean, this past week was just those couple episodes of Andor. I've been playing a lot of WWE 2K on my PS5.
What about Last of Us? So you caught up?
No. I still haven't watched it.
Dude.
Because my bum 16-year-old who usually watches it with me hasn't wanted to watch it. And I said, well, I'm going to start watching with you.
You need to. But leave him in the...
Yeah, I kind of already know some of the things that happen. I mean, you know.
Obviously, you've played the games. You know exactly. And the internet will spoil it for you, even if you haven't.
So, you know. But no, I know. I need to watch it. And I just haven't had a chance. I feel like there was something else I watched. Oh, I've been watching that Gundam series on Prime. That's I actually really like it. It's good. It's like 4 episodes in. Called GCUUUK. It's like some weird name, but it's a Gundam series on Prime, and it's good. But that's really all I watched this week. I mean, I know it's been 2 weeks since we did a show, but I just haven't. I mostly play a lot of video games the last couple weeks. Just been playing a lot of WWE 2K, trying to unlock some stuff on there, and so I haven't really. I don't know. I've been in a time lately where not a lot on movies streaming of interest me, and then there's TV shows I need to watch. I just need to get caught up on them. You know.
Yeah. I did rent Captain America: Brave New World.
You would when it's going to be on Disney Plus in just a few weeks.
Yeah, the kids.
I think the Disney Plus date's like it's like May 18th, like the Disney Plus date.
Probably.
I think I read that
between mid and late May. But the kids wanted a movie night, and I was like, "What's out?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know if I really want to do it," but I was like, I'm definitely not buying it, so I'll rent it. And I rented it, and it was okay. There's like a whole, they try to go the espionage route, and kind of like how Xena was for Civil War. Red Hulk and Harrison Ford are definitely the best parts of the film. But the bad guy that they chose to go with, I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then at the end, they were just like, oh yeah, something big's coming. And that was it. It felt like another one of those Marvel movies that was just kind of like, okay, it was entertaining, somewhat to watch, but I didn't feel like it moved the story forward. If you've already seen, Captain America Falcon Winter Soldier. And yeah, that's just my opinion. It's okay. I give it a B. I'll give it a B.
Well, the MCU's been like that for a while. Like, I probably will try to see Thunderbolts next week, but I'm just like, I'm not hyped for it, man. And then I'm starting to read some honest reviews of some people that, the critics seem to like Thunderbolts, but fan reviews are starting to kind of hit, and everyone's saying, yes, it's good entertainment. Don't let it fool you. It's still not like, it's I've been reading it's kind of like just a first Avenger level Captain America, or it is kind of first. It's like people say it's just another, like our buddy Long, our other host, he said it's equal like Iron Man. I've read that that's a lot of people are saying. And to me, that's not a good judgment of character. When we come off the Endgame and Infinity War, you need to be better than Captain America, First Avenger, or better than Iron Man, to be honest, right?
Yeah, you need to. And I saw reviews from critics saying it's the best since Endgame. And I was like, that's pretty ambitious.
No way, because No Way Home was really good.
Yeah, and Guardians 3. So it's like, I mean, obviously, if I'm going to watch one of those two movies, it's going to be No Way Home.
Right.
But Guardians 3 was a good follow-up too. Like you said, it's a movie that would be better than the predecessors of Avengers, the first movie. And it needs to be on par with Avengers, the first Avengers movie, or better. Because really, you look back at the first Avengers movie, it's entertaining, it's solid, it gets the point across. We've formed the Avengers, and it has a fun, exciting ending. And I feel like it's like a B+ or an A- kind of level, and that's what you would expect. But we're getting a bunch of like B's, B-, C+. So. Yeah, hopefully we start working our way on a better path with Fantastic Four and then Doomsday. Russo brothers can't come back for Doomsday, right? So that should be way more promising than Thunderbolts.
Well, yeah, hopefully. I mean, their last couple theatrical films have been kind of,
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's all I've got. Other than following up with the movie based on the graphic novel that we are about to check out. Well, not graphic novel, comic book.
Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get to the feature film, man. We're discussing today Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller's follow-up to Sin City with their sequel, Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, which is actually a prequel sequel. It's got moments of the film that take place after Sin City. It has most of the film, though, is a prequel that takes place before Sin City. It's funny because this movie, I've read a lot of the Sin City graphic novels. This was my favorite graphic novel. So when they adapted this, I was excited. But I also, I don't really get too caught up in box office, but this one, actually, I was really upset when this movie when no one saw it and didn't make any money. Cause first off, critics kind of dogged it too. And I feel like this is one of those movies where critics didn't really watch it. It had a weird release date. It came out in late August, early September. I think critics were uninvested at that point. After
and the Weinsteins were sued, remember, for not marketing, not putting as much money into marketing as they were supposed to.
Yeah. So Robert Rodriguez put a little of his own money in, and I feel like the critics at this point into the summer, they were done summer films. They were tired. I feel like they didn't pay attention to this movie. Because it's crazy how the first film makes 70 million at the box office, 170 worldwide, and this movie only makes 17 million in America, and 25 worldwide. It doesn't even make sense.
I don't even know what happened for that to happen.
Yeah, because this movie is it as good as the first one? No, but is it bad? No, it's a pretty good sequel.
That's entertaining, dude.
Yeah. I think it's well done. I love the style that they created for this film to make it look like a living comic. We talked about that when we covered Sin City, and it carries over into this. It's got a great cast. It's got great special effects. It's a really cool film noir story that's told in this about this dame who is basically manipulating everyone to to cash in with the corrupt senator, so they can basically make a lot of money. So it is,
and basically sin in Sin City, gambling, sex, power.
And we have Dwight, who's a private investigator, bounty hunter type dude, who's on the case to stop. He kind of falls into the case. Initially, he's just investigating an affair, and then he falls into the case and gets involved, and he ends up basically solving it with the help of a police officer who also gets corrupted by the dame. Who wouldn't get corrupted by Ava Green?
All of Ava Green.
Christ. Let's just say she shows it all, and it's worth every second of it.
Yeah, it threw me off. I thought it was going to be a quick little thing, but no, they are up there for a while.
A lot. She's showing it off, and Dwight is played by Josh Brolin in this film, because in the sequel he gets his face tore up in this movie, so that's why he looks like Clive Owen in the second movie.
Yes.
And that's why in the first movie Brittany Murphy's character tells him "Oh, Dwight, you changed your face," and now we know why, due to the prequel in this.
Yes.
And then there's a secondary story told with Nancy, who is mourning the loss of Hartigan in the first film, and she wants revenge on Senator Rourke. And then there's also a third story with Johnny, which is kind of a bookend story, kind of similar to how he did the first one. And he's involved in it as well because he has this gambling problem, and he gets in with Rourke, who wants revenge on him for taking a lot of money from him.
Yes.
And Rourke initially gets his revenge at the end of the film. So it's multiple stories like the first film, but I think this one is more focused because it mostly focuses on the Dame to Kill For story.
Yeah, mostly on that one. But I feel like A Dame to Kill For isn't the most exciting story. I like Johnny's, even though it's I believe it was an unpublished storyline.
Which one? The Johnny story, I think.
Johnny story.
Yeah.
And I love his character, the man with the hand, the magic hand, the luck, and he just can't stop winning. And he's smooth. He's charismatic. He's confident. He's basically Jason Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, what happened to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, man?
Man, dude, he was a thing for a while, and then he had the Netflix series, the Power one, where you have the power capsules. And
I was thinking about watching, like when I was watching it the other day, like where's he been, man? He was like, everywhere. Christopher Nolan had him in films, and
man, I wonder, we're gonna have to figure that one out and follow back up next show with what's been going on with Gordon-Levitt.
Where are they now?
Where are they? Yes, be a new segment. But yeah, I like it. And man, dude, it's I like the noir of that sect of the film. Obviously, Marv's storyline is fun and entertaining. He's a badass, smashing through windows, jumping on cars. Mickey Rourke is Marv, and portrays him pretty well.
And he's this brute, but he's also like this old romantic in a way.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't like people hurt women. He'll protect them. He'll take care of them. It's crazy. It's like the way he's written. He's a great character, and Mickey Rourke plays him perfectly.
Yeah. And he has a huge face, which throws me off sometimes, but it works well with the artwork. The only storyline that I don't like in this film is Nancy's.
Well, because it feels forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, where do they make you care? And then it's like, Bruce Willis is a ghost again. He's a ghost.
Well, the thing is, to me, her story, here's my thing. Where was her connection the first one to Rourke? There was none. And then it's kind of created in this, because Rourke was played by Rutger Hauer in the first one, of course. And then it's all of a sudden she's connected to Rourke in this one because she feels that Rourke it's kind of alluded that Rourke is in charge of everything. So she blames him for the death of Hartigan, even though Hartigan killed himself.
Yeah.
And so they kind of just create this story for Nancy, and that's why it feels forced. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing Jessica Alba strut her stuff on screen. She looks smoking hot doing it, but the story just doesn't make a lot of sense. And when she cuts her hair, becomes a badass. She's like freaking awesome, but it just feels like so out of place the rest of the story. And I think that's the issue with it,
Yeah. Now, even Mickey Rourke's character says the same thing. He's like, "You are hot."
And
but yeah. And then the way that storyline ends the movie, I'm like, that's not how you end a movie. I'm like, that's it?
Yeah.
It just ends?
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole point of the movie was to kill Rourke. But think about it. And that's the thing, like, she kills Rourke in the sequel because her story is the sequel story.
Yeah.
But then Marv's story is the prequel. So it's weird.
Yes.
So Marv just goes about his business afterwards, and he helps Dwight kill the dame to kill for. Then he goes on to help Dwight again in the original film. And, Marv's involved in everything. The whole story centers around Marv, really.
Yes. Well, his character was in two of the storylines. So that makes sense. Yeah. Even though you're dancing between, prequel and sequel, here, which I think is interesting. I'd like that ambitiousness that, Rodriguez was going to try and balance that and go prequel, sequel, and then a little bit in between, flashes of the in between.
Right.
But yeah, the main storyline is okay. It's entertaining. I'm not going to deny that. It's anytime you can walk through the streets of Sin City on the screen, it's entertaining. And Brolin, obviously was the only person you should have cast for this. And his fight with the Allstate man, who used to be
Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah, the Allstate.
They had to recast Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, and then they didn't recast Brittany Murphy's character out of respect for her. But Michael Clark Duncan's character, I wish we would have had Michael Clark, but Allstate, he had some hands, baby. You weren't in good hands whenever he
president from 24.
Yes, yeah. The president from 24. But I like his character too. And then she's just like, whenever I was watching the storyline, I'm like, who? I was like, they all fighting over the same woman? It's like she got a poison ivy effect, and she does. She has this like
look
poison
what she
ivy
does to
effect.
Christopher Maloney's police officer, man. She just tears his life apart.
Yeah,
just
I know him as
giving him a piece.
I know him as Detective Stabler from
Right.
Law and Order, and he plays a cop so well.
Well, it's funny because we just did 42. Maloney was in 42.
Yeah,
and then so we've done a few of these movies where we had some of the, and is there somebody in this movie that we just did Powers Booth movie, Sudden Death. So we've had these actors coming back around here lately. Yeah, I love Powers Booth. Powers Booth plays Senator Rourke, just menacingly evil.
He is such a good bad guy.
Yeah.
He always has been. He's a presence on screen. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he does get what's coming to him in the end. I just wish that they would have, maybe tied things off a little bit different. I guess there's no other way you could have done it.
Well,
just, for me, it just feels like the movie just stops and that's it.
Well, it stops because it hopes that you go watch the first one again. So I think like the books are written like that. They're interlooping stories where you can read them and you don't have to read them in order. So I think that's the idea with the movies is you don't have to watch them in order to get the story. And Robert Rodriguez, he's such ahead of his time. I always feel like he's one of our directors that could have been even bigger. Like Robert Rodriguez to me has the ability to have been a Spielberg. He has that eye. I mean, he's made some like the brilliance of Sin City's design and the special effects is freaking awesome. We did Alita Battle Angel, which is the first movie I ever felt like anime was really put on the screen or a living manga. And I love his style with his Desperado films. I just like the way that Robert Rodriguez does things. And I always wanted him to do another Sin City. I doubt we will at this point because you wouldn't be able to get the cast together. I know there was talks a couple of years ago about a remake of it already, but I think it kind of fell apart. But it is such a cool style. And as a fan of the comics, I think we're lucky that we even got two films, because this came in a time when they weren't afraid to make movies based on independent comics, and now with the way it's state of COVID and the state of the theater, you probably will not see a risky film like this anymore, not right now anyway, and I think
not anytime soon. And
I think we're grateful that we got both of these films. I'm still a little disappointed that the movie wasn't more successful because it's good. It's maybe not, it's not as good as the first one. Like you said, it has some issues. The Nancy story is a little forced. The movie just kind of ends abruptly. But the Ava Green story is obviously the best. And as a fan of the adaption, I think it's really good, but it moves very quickly. Like I didn't realize sometimes when we do these podcast movies, I watch them over 2 nights. I sat and watched this the other day and an hour and 45 minutes went by fast. It just flows.
Yeah, it flies.
So you have to pick up on things but it works. And we get to see a whole lot of Eva Green in it, which I'm very grateful for.
That's a pleasant surprise.
And we got a cameo from Lady Gaga in this film, which was interesting.
Yes, and second appearance. First one was in Machete Kills. Yeah,
and she was also. That's right. She was in Machete Kills. She's been in a couple of Robert Rodriguez films. Yeah, I guess he developed a friendship with her somewhere. I remember reading that, and that's why he offered her to be in. I think she might be in even a third of his films, if I remember right.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I know he developed.
She's a solid actress. I mean, she did, A Star Is Born.
Oh yeah, she's good.
And but I like her in his films. She's well utilized.
But the Sin City films to me are very, very grateful that we have these, that they exist, and they're good. They're good comic book adaptions. Not every comic book adaptation has to be the Avengers or Captain America or Batman. There's some great comics written out there. Frank Miller is one of our great comic book artists, creators of all time. I mean, he did their Dark Knight Returns. He made Daredevil relevant back in the 80s again. I mean, Frank Miller is on the Mount Rushmore of comic creators, honestly. And I know he did a little more, like in the first film, he directed one scene in the car with Quentin Tarantino and all that, where he did it. I know Robert Rodriguez, they get dual directing credit in this version, in the second film, because
he had to step down from the Directors Guild.
Yeah, Robert sat down and Frank did a little more directing, but it still looks like a Robert Rodriguez film. Let's be honest, he was really directing this film.
Yes.
He was helping Frank Miller learn some things, and because Frank Miller's been involved with Hollywood going back to writing the script for RoboCop 2. So Frank Miller's always been involved in Hollywood, and things like that. So But overall, a good adaptation, man. I like this movie. I think it's well done, well fun, and it's a good duo of films.
Yes. And it just sucks that we had a 7-year gap. I feel like maybe that played into
that might play a little too.
Some of it,
yeah. And then but good stories, good adaptions, and so we're going to stick with comic book films next week, actually. But I know we mentioned we're going to do Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, but that's 2 weeks away. So in a couple weeks, come back. We're going to talk about the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. But next week, we're going to stick with another adaptation, which is not so much an independent comic. Well, I mean, Sin City were made by Dark Horse, which was an independent company. But when they had creator-owned stuff, it was considered independent.
Yes.
And Image Comics is very similar to that. They're creator-owned, so they're kind of independent, but yet they're a major comic book company. And this is going to come from writer Mark Millar and his did Millar do Wanted, the comic? He may have. I don't remember. I have to look. He may have. But he definitely did this, and the comic book version of this is twisted as all get out. And the movie's pretty twisted too, and that is starring Nicolas Cage and Chloe Moretz, and that is the movie Kick-Ass. Man, this isn't. I was thinking this was streaming somewhere. I looked, it's not. I have it on Blu-ray. I'm actually going to have to bust out my Blu-ray player, and it was $5 on Vudu the other day. I didn't buy it. It went back up to like 15. I'm like, God dang, but it's okay. I have it on Blu-ray. But you can rent it for like cheap too. So next week, man, I actually really like this movie. I remember seeing Kick-Ass and like thinking this is going to be stupid. And I remember
he did Wanted. Yeah, he did.
He did one. I remember watching Kick-Ass originally and thinking it was going to be dumb. And then I remember really enjoying the film quite a bit. Another movie that has a sequel that wasn't as well received, but I like the sequel too to Kick-Ass, so I think both the movies are good films. So we're going to discuss that next week on the podcast. We will discuss the film Kick-Ass as we get into the month of May fully here and get closer to Comic Blues and some other stuff coming up. But yeah, man, I think that's all we got today.
Yeah, man.
But good show, man. I mean, good time hearing about you meeting the Hoff and the bourbon and cheese.
The Hoff.
You would keep that smell with you forever.
Yes, and, always.
But the rebelradiopodcast.com, as always, for all your Rebel Radio needs. And until next time, we thank you as always for listening. Continue to be safe out there. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
Remember, as always, just go there
and do it.